guys, Ekman18 here. Welcome back to TZM TV. We're back with another episode, or not another episode, wow. We are, Happy Memorial Day. It's time for my Memorial Day special. It's just going to be this one, it's just going to be one segment since, I mean, it's not really a big holiday that I celebrate, but I have no school today, so to celebrate, I thought I'd be doing an interesting game. Since you guys are still waiting for me to do Phoenix Wright, which will not happen for a while, I decided to play one of the trials on Phoenix Wright Online. Ace Attorney Online, I should say. So we're just going to pick a random trial here, and we're going to go play it. It's going to be just like the actual game. And I'm actually going to bring this, I'm going to stand up a little bit more. And this is where the evidence would be shown, and X that out, and the profiles and such. So today, for this trial, you actually play as Apollo Justice, which is actually a game, another game for the DS. And they also have Trucy Wright and Phoenix Wright. And now, what I just learned from playing a couple of these other trials is that Trucy is actually Phoenix's adopted daughter. And this is what Phoenix Wright looks like now. So this is way later in the future after the 3 games. So I'm actually pretty excited to play this for you guys. So, and yes, as always, there will be voice acting. I know how you guys like me doing voice acting. So let me bring it back to the evidence, and I'm actually going to just kind of aim it on the full entire screen here. We'll do that. There you go. Alright, let's get the game started. Click to start. Oh my god, it's really fuzzy. There we go. White. The meeting today, wasn't it? Was it not? What the heck? Why is it being so fuzzy? If you'll excuse me, I'd like to get going. I have quite a long walk home, and it's cold out here. Mr. Moore, why don't you take my car? My driver would be happy to transport you. I couldn't possibly. It's your limousine after all. No, I insist. My home is only a 10-minute walk from City Hall. Worry not on my behalf. Thank you. In some ways, fate is like our chauffeur, our driver, guiding us unquestioningly through our lives and to our deaths. Boom! Same old lobby. Trial time. Boy, am I nervous. My first real case in months, and I get almost no no's beforehand. Why can't things go my way for once? Cheer up, Apollo. Look at today as a learning experience. I have no problem with learning, it's just getting schooled that I don't like. My name is Apollo Justice. In case you were wondering, I'm a defense attorney. This is only my 5th major trial, so I'm somewhat inexperienced, but I've learned to go into every case with the same goal, finding the truth. Wasn't Mr. Wright supposed to be here today, Trucy? Oh, you mean Daddy? He said he was busy writing his exam today. Gosh, that's so weird. Ah, that's right. The girl in front of me is Trucy Wright, who sort of helps me as my assistant during cases. Trucy's father, Phoenix Wright, actually used to be a legendary defense attorney, but almost 8 years ago he was despaired when he presented a forged piece of evidence. It wasn't his fault, of course. The real man behind the forgery was recently discovered. Now Phoenix Wright has been reinstated as a lawyer, provided he passes the bar admission program once again. Lost in thought again, Apollo? Oh no, I was just... never mind. So this is supposed to be Damon Gant, if you guys remember, but this is a different character in this one. I do so hope I'm not interrupting anything, Apollo, my boy. It's him, it's actually him. Who is this guy, Apollo? I don't recognize him. This is Asteric Dugal. So yeah, he has a different name in this. He's a very well-known politician in this city. Don't you ever watch TV? Only magic shows. Anywho, my boy, I'm sorry I only knew this matter since last night. Why does he keep calling me boy? Things have been a tad confused at City Hall as of late, but I must thank you ever so much for taking my case. Or rather, my chauffeur's case. No problem at all, sir. Dear old Matthias wouldn't hurt a fly, you must understand this, but it is simply terrible to think of what has happened. My dear friend and colleague, dead, and if I hadn't offered him a ride home in my limousine, none of this would have happened. I'm so sorry to hear that. Thank you so very much for your kindness, milady. Wait, so I'm a boy, but she's a lady? Pray tell, what is it you do? Your clothes, if I may, are quite garish. Are you an entertainer? Well, I don't know if you'd call me an entertainer. But I certainly am. Aha! Ha, 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 ha. Oh, so very amusing. I've seen it 500 times by now, and I still don't find it amusing. Is Matthias here right now, Mr. Dougal? I'm afraid not, my boy. What was that look just now? But rest assured, it is an innocent man you are defending today. I would not have hired you for this case. Unless I had every confidence in Matthias. I'll do my best, sir. Hey, Apollo, looks like the trial's starting. Alright, Trucy, I'm coming. Let's go. My first trial in months and I haven't even met the defendant. Cords of steel, don't fail me now. Here comes justice. So yeah, it's and the courtroom does look a lot different, as you can see right here. And the music is pretty cool too.
Court indulgences for the trial of Matthias Thomas.
The prosecution is, yeah, Payne looks totally different. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is ready, Your Honor. What have I gotten myself into?
Mr. Justice, it's been quite a while since I've seen you in my courtroom. Are you quite sure you're still up to this?
No problem, Your Honor. I'm fine, really. Perhaps our young defense attorney should have prepared a little more for this case. For someone who loses cases all the time, he's pretty confident today. Come on, Apollo, you can't let him rattle you.
The prosecution will refrain from mocking the defense. Would you please give us your opening statement, Mr. Payne?
With pleasure, Your Honor. The victim was Ivan Moorer, a well-known member of the City Council. The defendant, as a private chauffeur, was driving the victim home after a day at City Hall. While he was driving him, the defendant shot the victim, shot him dead. The prosecution has decisive evidence to prove this is the truth.
Very well. Would you mind giving us a brief overview of the case, Mr. Payne?
Yes, Your Honor. Or I mean, not at all, Your Honor. On the night of April 2nd, Police HQ received an anonymous tip from a concerned citizen. The caller reported suspicious activity inside a vehicle on the street, a limousine to be exact. A location and license plate number were given, and the police tracked the vehicle to a parking lot. In it, they found the body, alone, with the defendant in the driver's seat. Oh boy. I like Apollo, he's pretty cool. Perfect. Incidentally, the victim died of a bullet to the right temple, as per the autopsy report.
The court accepts this as evidence.
Alright, so we got the autopsy report. I should also probably mention that the investigators are sure that the victim died in the vehicle. The body was not moved from anywhere else.
Did the investigators manage to find the murder weapon, Mr. Payne?
After some searching, they found the offending pistol under the back seat of the vehicle. It's a fairly standard killing machine, nothing special about it. Well, except for one thing. Matthias Thomas's fingerprints are all over it. Ugh, this is getting worse by the minute. Did you notice Mr. Payne was actually pretty cool for a second there? Actually, yeah, it's so out of character for him.
The court accepts the murder weapon into evidence.
Okay.
Was there no other evidence found in the vehicle, Mr. Payne?
A card key to the vehicle was found inside, as well as a few other assorted business papers.
A card key to a vehicle? Whatever happened to the old metal kind?
These kinds of keys are meant for extra security. They operate somewhat like a credit card.
Very well. Anything else to add?
There was not much other than that, I'm afraid. However, we do have the specifications of the vehicle in question. Let me see data add to the court record.
Well, what did the defendant have to say for himself when he was arrested?
The defendant refused to speak about what happened. Actually, it's as good as a confession.
We seem to have a very clear-cut scenario in front of us.
I love this song. I actually played some other cases on here with Apollo, and I've been hearing this song. It's awesome.
Is there any room for doubt in this case?
I think no, Your Honor. Objection! We haven't explored every possibility yet. What other possibilities are there to explore? Unless you know of someone who could give us new insight on the case this trial is over.
I'm afraid I have to agree with the prosecution on this one, Mr. Justice, and I'm sure the jurist would agree as well. Do you know of anyone who could shed some light on the refractory aspects of this case?
Absolutely, Your Honor. What? This whole time we've been hearing about what the police found. We've ignored how these things came to be there in the first place. Why exactly was Matthias Thomas driving Ilva Murrer home? We have yet to find this out. I don't know exactly who can tell us. It's gotta be that hysteric guy, right? Take that! Why, hysteric Dougal, of course. The very owner of our limousine crime scene. Ah! Mr. Dougal is Matthias Thomas's employer, and he witnessed the defendant and the victim right before the murder. We need to hear his testimony. This is trivial, Your Honor. The defense is grasping at straws. It's an open and shut case.
Objection overruled. We need to examine every possible angle of this case before I declare a verdict. And Mr. Justice's request for testimony is a reasonable one.
That's just not fair.
Overruled. In the future, Mr. Payne, try to find a more legitimate objection.
Yes, score 1 for the home team. You got him on the ropes now.
Will Mr. Asteric Dugal please take the stand? Will the witness state his name and profession for the court? Doesn't that seem a little pointless to anyone? What do you mean?
Wow, he's in dangerous territory now.
Well, I was sitting in the gallery and I couldn't help but notice that you've already stated my name, and so has Mr. Justice for that matter. Indeed, it seems that even a third grader could deduce my name by following the trial thus far. And since I am so well known at the City Hall, it's not outlandish to think that if one knows my name, one could certainly deduce my profession. Ha 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 ha! I'm at a loss for words.
His name is Asteric Dugal, and he's a city council member, Your Honor.
That was what I was just explaining, dear prosecutor. You really need to think sharper like dear Apollo here.
No, please, don't bring me into this.
Yes, young Apollo, I couldn't have entrusted Matthias's case to a finer lad.
What? You're in the defense's camp. That means you're unfit to testify.
Dear prosecutor, are you insinuating that I would compromise justice with my testimony? That I would deliver false testimony in the court of law? I, Asteric Dugal? Because if that is what you are doing, I may have to adjust a few salaries on next year's budget.
The prosecution withdraws its objection. I kind of feel bad for Mr. Payne now.
Yeah, that was a little harsh. Witness, the victim was murdered in your vehicle. Clarify for us how he came to be there. It would be my pleasure, Your Honor.
Witness testimony. Events leading to the crime.
Mr. Moore and I were in a meeting until 7:15 p.m. When we finally finished, we were both naturally very tired and Mr. Moore had a long walk home, so I offered to have Matthias drive him. I elected to walk home since I needed the exercise anyway. That was a surprisingly succinct testimony. The defense may cross-examine the witness.
Your Honor, this gives us no new information. There's nothing to cross-examine.
The defense has the right to cross-examine the witness. Mr. Justice is correct. Please, Mr. Payne, I would like to get this trial finished sometime this century. Stop objecting to every little thing.
Alright, Apollo, time to show them what you're made of.
Here we go.
Cross-examination. Events leading to the crime. Hold it! What sort of meeting was this exactly?
Oh, just a sort of boring ho-hum kind of meeting having to do with taxes and the like. I'm afraid I don't exaggerate when I say that my talents are better spent elsewhere. Just a week before, we had quite a thrilling meeting, a debate about what to do with our surplus. Of course, as you can imagine, a meeting like that took hours and hours to complete. But it wasn't nearly as long as the meeting we had last November regarding a certain pair of...
We both said objection. The prosecution objects to the witness's incessant rambling,
as does the defense. Both objections sustained. The witness will refrain from delivering trivial anecdotes. If you insist.
Alright, hold on. So I just want to look over my evidence really quickly. So up here, just kind of shows you. So you would just let him use your vehicle like that? That's certainly very generous of you.
Well, when you've been friends as long as the Alva and I have. That sort of thing is very commonplace.
So did you leave before or after he entered the vehicle?
I left before, I believe, but I did see him get in. I was anxious to get home, so I just told him which limo was mine and walked home.
Do you get the feeling that detail is important, Apollo? Actually, I'm not entirely sure.
Let's hear your thoughts, Mr. Justice. Was that last detail important enough to be added to the testimony?
Sure. It was very important, Your Honor.
Very well, witness, add this detail to your testimony. As you wish.
I told Mr. Moore where my car was parked and then I went on my merry way. No, because... Didn't he just say he escorted him? Let me check. Yeah. Objection! So what you're saying is you didn't open the door for the victim to let him in your car.
As I said, I started for home and then Mr. Moore let himself in.
We've been over this. But that does not make sense.
What?
Well, the vehicle specifications say that a car key was required to enter, and the victim didn't have one. In other words,
he wouldn't have been able to enter without the witness's help.
Wait a minute. Our defense attorney has forgotten something important. Why couldn't the defendant have simply opened the door for him?
Haha. afraid you will have to provide a sufficient answer to this question, Mr. Justice.
Don't worry, Apollo. Everything you need is in the court record.
Why didn't the defendant just open the door for the witness?
Let me check. Requires card keys. Licensed chauffeur are trained. Oh, so he wasn't allowed to because it's only for licensed chauffeurs. He wasn't allowed to, Your Honor. It's right here on page 3 of the limousine data. Chauffeurs for this vehicle are trained not to allow anyone to enter without a card key. Not even a friend of the owner. Someone said hold it. It's probably him. Yep.
Apollo, my boy. I feel I owe you an apology.
What do you mean?
Well, actually, I forgot a key detail in my testimony. I fear that I can be a rather forgetful person on occasion. Why, just last week I forgot where I put my favorite gloves. An especially unfortunate event, seeing as they make a rather bold fashion statement. I'm actually the only one who wears gloves at work, you know. Very daring of me, to be sure.
Mr. Dugal, you were saying something about a key detail you forgot?
Ah, yes. You see, I allowed Mr. Moore to borrow my card key for temporary use. I also gave him a note to present to Matthias explaining the situation.
Mr. Payne did say there was a card key found at the scene, but there was no mention of any note.
That's true. How do you explain this, Mr. Payne?
Actually, Your Honor, they did find a note.
What?
I'm terribly sorry I didn't mention it. It seemed trivial at the time.
In the future, Mr. Payne, you will take more care not to omit vital facts. Do you have the note in question?
Yes, Your Honor.
Perhaps we should add both the note and the card key to the court record. The court accepts these as evidence.
Okay.
There, you see, these things work themselves out in the end. I think it would be best if the witness testified again. More accurately this time. No problem whatsoever, Your Honor.
Okay. Here we go again. Events leading to the crime, part 2.
As I stated previously, I offered Mr. Moore a ride back home. I loaned him my card key, trusting him to leave it with Matthias afterward. I also gave him a note to let Matthias know what was going on. No doubt, Ilva gave it to Matthias straight away. I can't think of any other way it could happen.
Wait a minute. Note from the defendant. No, that's wrong.
I hope our defense can glean more information from this.
With pleasure. Careful not to get too cocky, Apollo. Yeah, because it says, a note from Mysteric Dugal to the defendant Matthias Thomas. Very neatly written. Found in the chest pocket of the victim Ilva Moore. So yeah. So let's go to that. Yeah. Because it was found in his... Yeah, so. Well, actually, let me just make sure. What makes you say that?
Well, Apollo, my boy, it only makes sense. Ilva was a smart man. He wouldn't forget to deliver a note. And since the note was found in the vehicle, he must have given it to Matthias.
Does that make sense? How am I supposed to know? You're the defense attorney.
That was a rhetorical question, Trucy.
Oh. Moving right along?
Yeah. Because that's wrong.
Objection!
So you believe that Ilva Moore gave the note to Matthias? Is that correct?
You're right on the nose, Apollo. But I'm afraid that doesn't flow with the facts thus far.
Skip the alliteration already. Just tell us what you mean.
If Mr. Moore gave the note to Matthias Thomas, then why was it found in Mr. Moore's chest pocket?
That's a very good point. Well, witness, what do you say to this? I'm afraid I don't see any problem here, Your Honor.
Huh?
What? I mean, of course.
Think about it. What if Mr. Moore just showed the note to Matthias and put it in his pocket?
I didn't even think of that.
It happens to the best of us, my boy.
Or in this case, the worst of us.
You didn't get it either. Hey, listen. Trucy, now is not the best time to practice your knobby impression. No, I mean, listen to me. What if there were 2 notes? 2 notes? How does that make any sense? I guess it doesn't.
Well, Mr. Justice, can you disprove Mr. Dugal's claim?
I don't think I have any evidence that can do that. Remember, Apollo, sometimes you have to let go of your pride.
I shall ask again. Do you have evidence refuting the idea that the victim put the note back in his pocket after showing it to the defendant?
Alright, I guess there's nothing then. I'm sorry, Matthias. Your Honor, there is no evidence we have that can prove what happened.
Justice, we call Mr. Dugal to stand to gain new insight in the case. You requested we explore every possibility. Doing this has gained us nothing.
He's really grilling you, Apollo. You were the one who suggested I let go of my pride.
The witness may leave the stand. Apollo, I'm sorry I couldn't have been more help. I failed you and Matthias. I did my fair share of failing as well, Mr. Dugal. Considering the lack of routine,
I think someone's gonna interrupt. Because that's what Phoenix Wright is all about. Considering the lack of pertinent information gathered from the witness, as well as the insurmountable evidence produced against the defense in this case, I see no need to consult with the jurists on this matter. The case is crystal clear. I hereby find the defendant Matthias Thomas. Haha, I knew it! Woohoo!
Hold on just a minute, you're what?
Mr. Payne, what is the meaning of this? I was about to announce my verdict. It would be your first guilty verdict in years.
I am painfully aware of that, Your Honor. However, I feel the need to make sure all the loose ends of this case are tied up. I understand this is a highly irregular choice. Regardless, the prosecution would like to call a witness.
Wow. See, Apollo, your case is still alive. I see it, but I just don't believe it.
All along, you had another witness waiting in the wings, Mr. Payne.
Yes, Your Honor. Earlier, I believe I mentioned the person who reported the vehicle to police. On the night of April 2nd, Police HQ received an anonymous tip from a concerned citizen. The caller reported suspicious activity inside a vehicle on the street, a limousine to be exact. A location and license plate number were given, and the police tracked the vehicle to a parking lot. This person has agreed to come forward and testify if necessary, and I find it necessary.
Winston Payne helped me out? Is it Christmas or something?
In light of this development, I will declare a 30-minute recess. This will allow the prosecution time to prepare its witness.
Alright. Wow, our goose was cooked in there. And then Mr. Payne saved us. Why, I wonder? Maybe he's secretly your father, Apollo? Sure, and I suppose you and I are brother and sister. Come on, does that even make a lick of sense? It could. Huh? Who's this, Apollo? Can only be my client. Matthias Thomas. Say something?
You are the one who took on my case?
Yes, sir, we did indeed.
Good luck. You will need it.
That's hardly encouraging.
I must leave quickly. Officer, if you please.
Huh, what a weird encounter. Yes, it certainly was. What are you hiding, Matthias Thomas? Hello? Is that Phoenix? Not too late to the party. Am I, Apollo? Daddy, you're here! Hey, Trucy, long time no see. It's Phoenix Wright, everybody! Woohoo! I hope that was a sarcasm, though he's been known to leave for long periods of time. Did you pass the bar exam, Mr. Wright? Haha, of course. I'm no greenhorn after all. How long have you been here, Daddy? Well, I watched some of the trial. You two handled yourselves well in there, as always. But I'm afraid I didn't come here just to chit-chat. Then, what did you come here for? To give some advice. You mean like look both ways before crossing the street, or a penny saved is a penny earned? Somehow I don't think that's what he means, Trucy. No one is above the law, Apollo. Remember that. No one is above the law. Well, what's that supposed to mean? I don't think I understand, Mr. Wright. Just something to think about. I'll be watching you two during the rest of the trial. Good luck. Oh my gosh, seeing Phoenix like that's weird. Huh, Daddy sure does like to talk in riddles. Did you understand what he meant, Trucy? Well, no. But I'm sure he knows what he's doing. I hope so. What is it that Phoenix Wright is trying to tell me? And just what is Matthias Thomas hiding? But more importantly, exactly who is this next witness? To be continued. Alright, so we just brought up the next part. Alright, so when we come back, we're going to continue on with Turnabout Escorts for my Memorial Day special. Stay tuned right here on TZM TV.